Hello. Oh. Oh, okay, sorry. Disappeared there. Not sure what happened. Not sure what happened. Oh, copy. Thank you. A little spur of the moment. A little spring it on ya in the day. How are you? How are you, beautiful bee? I have a child home today. Apparently she's severely allergic to black fly bites. That was fun to figure out as I was getting her on the bus. I just looked down and she was like, eyes were almost swollen shut. I was like, oh, you can't go to school like that. Aww. I appreciate you coming in. Sorry, like I said, spur of the moment. I'm waiting for Monica. Yeah, so she's home today, but it is what it is. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, TikTok After Dark. Good morning, Dwayne. Is it? Yeah, it's still morning. I can still say good morning. Good morning, Tony. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm just waiting for the Monica. And then away we go. So, yeah. Good morning, Nick. Hey, Tony. Oh, good, you are a mod. Okay. Not that I'm expecting it to get crazy in here by any means. By more. Yeah. We should ask him about that. What would be a more, can we give you a happy name? Good morning, Nana. Good morning, Manuel. Freaking mosquitoes in my house. Good morning, One Love. Good morning, Tanya. I saw you. Good morning, Wolfman. Yeah. You know what I watched, speaking of movies, last night? Was I watched the movie Iron Claw, which is based on a true story about this family of wrestlers. And what a heartbreaking story. Like, heartbreaking. Oh, good morning, Fallen One. I'm just waiting for Monica, and then I'll pop you up in one of the... Monica's just saying, give me 5. So, yeah, it was interesting, but it honestly was so... it was so sad. Yes, yes. Like, the father was a severe narcissist. Like, the first 10 minutes in the movie, I was like, oh my god, these poor boys. Like, their dad just wanted to live vicariously through them because he was unable to win the wrestling title or whatever it is. I know a little bit of it, but okay, so you're a wrestling fan. So have you seen the movie then, Fallen One? Fucking mosquitoes. Get out of here. It's on Prime right now. Amazon Prime. Sorry, there's mosquitoes in here. It's going to drive me nuts. But yeah, it was really, especially like because of our talks and, the trauma stuff and just watching what this family went through and how there were 5 boys. And at the end of it, yeah, so anyways, the story is really amazing. But just at the end of this story, there were 5 boys and only one was survived because their life, just all the things that they had gone through. I believe 2 of them succumbed to unaliving, and one was basically like a stomach aneurysm or something. Again, from just being worked so hard by their dad that wanted them to basically win this title for him. He made it seem like it was about them, and he had favorites, which was really bizarre. I'm like, that's narcissistic. Oh, it was, and I found it very triggering, to be perfectly honest. I found it very triggering to watch because just the love between these brothers was so strong, and there was just no, like, there was really no affection or love from the parents. And when the boys would be like, hey, like, can we talk to you about something, to their mother, she'd be like, you guys need to just figure it out yourselves. And it was like, but what, who's just like, yeah, you figure it out yourselves. I don't know, it was, I found it very triggering. Great movie, but very heartbreaking. And just what these people went through, mind blowing. They thought their family was cursed, and really it was just very dysfunctional. Yeah, wrestling is wild to me. Hello, demigod. Oh, there she is. All right. Why is it not letting me do it? Good morning, Pauline. Okay, I gotta keep an eye because I keep saying good morning, and I'm like, now it is. Yeah, you know what, B? That's actually really totally. I can totally relate to that. Absolutely. It's definitely different watching things now when you are. Yes, you may. Hello. Oh, look at you outside. That's smart.
Yeah, it's nice here.
All right. So, just a little bit of direction in what we're doing this morning is we have somebody coming in who's going to chat with us. And so obviously we have really amazing people in here, but anyone else who's coming in who isn't familiar with what we do, um, we create a safe space to talk about trauma and different things that affect us in life or have afflicted us. So it's a safe space. And yeah, no worries. Follow one, take your time. Um, so it's, anyways, safe space and absolutely no BS in here. So if you come in to make shitty commentary, you will be kicked out. Just putting that out there. But so far, everybody that's in here is good. So good. We good.
It's too windy. Sorry, where I was before. So for now, there's. Okay.
Good morning. All right. Yeah, B was talking.
Morning.
Can you see the comments, Mon?
I can, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
just. Sorry, I had an important call this morning, and I'm always late anyway, so it just. Yeah, it doesn't help my cause.
I would
I'm
be
sorry.
worried if you were on time. I'd be like, is she okay?
You
What's
probably should.
going
You're like,
on
how
here?
did she have her shit together so well today? It's a miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
I was not late to my important phone call, but I am sorry that I am late to my next important thing, which is this.
All good. All good.
And I'm sitting outside because there's people in my house.
I wish I
How
was
dare
sitting
they
outside.
be at my home during the
It's too
day?
buggy. Too buggy for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
walk
It's
flies.
Well, it's also, we had that crazy storm yesterday, so everything's like super moist still.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
super
We had
buggy.
a thunderstorm last night too.
Yeah. Good morning, Nugget. Yeah, it was a crazy storm because we had like the whole tornado warning, and I was like, oh, this is great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's crazy. Yeah, when you sent me that, I was like, wait, what? We don't get tornadoes where we are.
Well, I wasn't really worried about myself so much, but I was thinking about the kids at school, and I'm like, they're probably freaking out right now. And then I was thinking about Haley because she's out working outside, and then I'm thinking about Dustin because he's out, doing structural steel work. I'm just like,
Yeah.
my whole family is out of the house. I hope everybody is okay. Good morning, Sarah. So yeah, let us know, Fallen One, when you want to come in. And then B was thinking that maybe there was a nicer nickname we could call you, something more uplifting for you. But
Um,
whatever works. Whatever works. Thanks for the likes, guys. We really appreciate it. Pushing out the pushing out the live. Okay. No, I don't think you can go on camera anyway, so I think that's okay. So we'll just invite you in and then you can Oh, good morning, King of Queens. Glad you could make it. So we can just Oh, thank you.
So, Fallen One, we're so happy that you're joining us because I feel like we have spoken so much over the last couple of weeks, and yeah, you've got a little piece of our heart for sure. So I'm so glad that you are feeling up to joining us today and just speaking a little bit about what you have going on. And thank you for always joining in the comments, but we are loving that you are willing to come on and speak a little bit as well
Yes.
about what you've got, what you're dealing with. And there's lots of people who are on here who you've already seen in the comments of other lives, actually.
Yeah.
Hopefully, have connected with outside of these.
All right, I'm gonna let's see. Do, 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 do. Hey,
Oops.
where'd you go? So I'm trying to think how this works. You ready? Okay, so the invitation was sent. So it worked. Good morning, Barefoot Mom. Thanks, guys, for the gifts.
Hero, my brother.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
It's quite
Is it
weird seeing
morning?
my pick up there like that.
Yeah.
Is, is it morning where you are? We're in
Uh,
Ontario.
yeah, it's 9:45 here in Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay. 9:45. Yeah. We try to do these early in the morning. I'm usually like feeling pretty good in the mornings. The afternoons get a little dicey for me at times, so we try to do these things.
Usually every day, all day is pretty dicey for me right now.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about that, right? For a while now, just sort of connecting on what you're what you're going through and experiencing and stuff. So for anybody who doesn't know, um, Fallen One, like you came into our live, right?
Yeah, I found you guys. Thank goodness.
Oh well, thank you. We're glad you found us. Um, and you came in, and it was we were talking a lot about compound grief.
Yeah, it definitely is compounded in my life in the last 3 years.
Do you are you good to share about that? Like what that experience has been?
Uh, 14 funerals in less than 3 years. Most of my family, friends. Yeah, it's been really hard. Uh, Out of the 14, there's just the one I can't move past, which was my mother.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? I don't know.
No, that's okay. Yeah, like just free flow conversation. Don't have to put any pressure on it. Whatever you're comfortable with sharing.
So I know that like for anybody listening or and who's been through losing somebody, especially a family member, or somebody who you're close to, but when you've lost that, like when you've gone to that many funerals in a few years, like that is such um, an incredible roller coaster. I'm sure that you've been on. Also, every single time I'm sure you received that call or that text or that communication that you've heard that there's been a loss of somebody, you're sort of going through that emotion again over and over again, and it's not like something that you can build a muscle for. It's something that it shakes your world every single time. So, firstly, like my heart goes out to what you've, been through, what you've experienced. And I know we've talked a little bit about like how you have some survivors, like being one of the people who have not passed away, like how you feel guilty about some of that, and trying to work through some of those emotions as well. And so I'm hoping that some people in the comments who have maybe perhaps been through some of those scenarios before are able to offer some commentary or advice and some love and support as well,
Any
because
advice, any advice would be awesome because, like I said, it's been really, really rough. I had to recently go away from my meds and my doctors because nothing was seemed to be working at all. I mean, going through them for over a year, and we still haven't talked about why I'm feeling like this. All they want to know is my mood and if I'm eating, and,
right.
but they don't talk about anything else. So I decided to quit that recently here. So
That's the doctors you're talking about?
yeah, psych
Yeah.
doctor, counselor. It took me about a year just to get in for all
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, the Canadian medical system's a mess. So yeah, that's, and then, you wait all that time and then you get in and you're like, wait, I need like, tangible, you know, steps, not just, they have good intentions with, of course, asking how you're feeling, asking if you're eating. Like, of course, those are important things because that's, you got to take care of yourself, and that's what they're worried about, right? Too. But that doesn't help you move forward and move on and move through things.
yes, exactly. And even though we'll say like my sleeping and my eating is not the best of anything, but I would rather get over the other thing first, so then I, like you said, that I can move on and I guess try to live again, really, because I don't, yeah.
So
No,
can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly you're trying to get on from? Like, just so, like break it
well,
down as simple as you can for us so that we can.
well, me and my mom, we had a very weird relationship beginning. I'm not going to go into that right now, but it was really weird. And then later on in life here, we became best friends practically. Talk to her every day, do things for her every day, go to her house, just things like that. And then I would say, like, well, she called me the day she died, and she wanted me to take her to go get some drinks, we'll say.
Hmm.
And I told her no because we were trying to get her out of that. And we had a big argument and hung up. And 4 hours later, I get that phone call from my stepdad saying, you know, she had, I guess, what, fallen, I guess, on the steps coming up home and collapsed.
Mm.
And yeah, so I feel really bad about that. And I wasn't there. And yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I understand.
got to watch your final moments on TikTok. So
that's that. I can't even imagine how that would feel in on any level.
like I haven't watched the video in a few years now. I don't even need to because I know exactly what happens in that 2 minute video that that person took. I relive that every day of my life.
Yeah.
But that's honestly pretty horrific, and
Oh,
especially when you're feeling that guilt too, right?
oh yeah. I mean, I always think that if I would have drove her, she wouldn't have had that, I guess, like pressure on her body or whatever. She'd still be here. Um, all the things, like I should have moved her out of the house, out of my parents' house before that. She called me crying about that, and so I mean, I took it really, really hard, and I still am.
That's heavy.
I'm almost crying right now as we speak.
Aw.
It sounds easy for me to say, but like those things that you're feeling guilty about, they weren't within your control. And I know that doesn't make it any easier to digest that, what has happened, but I know that that guilt is something that is difficult to get past. And there's probably, yeah, there's not like an easy solution, obviously, because you would have figured it out by now.
Well,
Um,
well, we could say that I tried that solution and obviously have failed. So, because it's I'm at a point where it's like where I do want to continue and being there for other people and all that, but it's hard being there for other people when I'm not there for myself.
yeah, you're depleted. Yeah,
Pouring out of
I
an
mean,
empty cup.
And
it's
so,
good that you have an understanding to know that you aren't like when you can't pour from an empty cup, like that saying, right? Like you have to take care of yourself. That's good that you're not, overextending yourself anymore, because you're just gonna, you gotta take care of you first. You're not gonna be able to help people the way you would want to help people, of course, if you aren't healthy enough to be able to do it. And I know that that's a difficult, place to be in as well, because you feel like you're sort of letting other people down or whatever. But I mean, talking about what you're talking about now and knowing, I don't know if you're seeing the comments light up here with all of
I
the
have.
love that they're, pouring out to you. And you can see, Nugget saying, learning to forgive myself has helped eliminate a large portion of guilt in his life. And I mean, that's, you know,
Yeah,
You're in an amazing group of people here, and this is why we're doing what we're all doing, because we want, people, because we've all felt that way before. We've all been in those situations where it's like, I don't know how much more of life I can take. I don't know how much more I can process. I am at my wit's end, because you feel alone, you feel isolated, and you're not. But I mean, again, that's still sometimes harder. Sometimes feeling that, knowing that it's there, is still hard to accept too, because if you struggle with self worth, like I have in the past, it's really hard to accept that people are there caring about you and wanting to help you, even if they haven't known you forever, you know?
yeah. I'm always thinking that someone has a secret agenda to use my hard work or my sweat, my tears, my blood, or whatever for their gain.
Yep.
I'm always thinking that.
Yep. Absolutely. That's one of the hardest things about anybody, most people that have experienced lots of different trauma in their life, is being able to accept, love and support from other people without thinking that it's inevitably just for their gain and your loss later on, right?
Yeah. And some of the people who I thought were my support, I quickly found out that they weren't.
mhm.
And it took a really bad situation to find that out. Like when I was in the hospital watching them work on her, um, just after she passed, I got a phone call from my stepdad, where the house where all this happened, and he had the gall to complain about what was going on to me about her, and I'm right laying like right beside, right after she passed. I went so numb, I dropped my phone in the room, and then after that, you know, my partner, who I eventually opened up to about everything, and he practically told me that me and my mother should go F ourselves. That day, he took the kid out to the beach. I went to work. I got really drunk. I came home and I tried to join her, my family. So ever since then, I keep everything to myself practically. Like my partner doesn't know how many times I've tried or what I do to myself just to feel anything more than pain. And It really hurts.
Absolutely. It's isolating.
You're taking a step forward. I know this is a painful one, but you're taking a step forward right now. And you're creating awareness about the types of real shit people are dealing with.
Yeah.
You're helping people right now by talking about it. And we might not, each completely understand, in the comments, or people watching might not completely understand what you're going through, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people, I mean, you can see in the comments, have gone through those feelings and those experiences like that you're articulating right now, and that isolation. And you know,
Yeah, I find like women have it easier. I hate to say it, but they do when it comes to this stuff. You guys are more emotional, and I hate to say it, but doctors almost seem rather to help women more than men when it comes to this stuff. And
yeah,
Yep.
so
I
that,
would,
I won't say that that's an unfair statement at all. It's unfortunately that's sort of that what do we call it, toxic masculinity, right? Like you're a man, you should be strong, you shouldn't have feelings, and if you have feelings, then you should, you know enough to bottle them up and keep them in. And that's that is, I feel it's a huge problem, obviously, because that's what creates these, lack of communications and relationships, right? Because when
yeah,
you feel like you have to bear the burden of holding everything in, and if you try to let it out and that person looks at you like a weaker person,
mhm.
that's, really, really toxic.
yeah,
And I also think that women, we talk more, like just in general. So I think we, either put ourselves in positions where we're able to talk about it more. I can't imagine what it's like coming from your, point of view as a male who has been through some very serious things. You're gaining the courage to just talk about it that one time, and then you're feeling not supported in that. And I'm very sorry that that's been your experience. And I know there's people watching who have likely, witnessed that themselves. It's not fair.
No.
It's not fair because what you're explaining is would be difficult for anybody. Like, oh my gosh.
yeah. I had well, I still do. I have constant nightmares for the last 3 years. They're usually the same ones, but they come and go with a slight twist all the time. To the point where I wasn't almost allowed to. I was almost kicked out of my bed because I was kicking and screaming and everything at night times and not even knowing it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah.
that's what you're bottling up, right? Everything's coming out in your subconscious while you're sleeping.
yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Well, and it's unfortunate too, like you were just saying, when you went to the doctor and they're just dismissing, you're kind of asking them like, what is an avenue here for me to take in order to start, my healing journey? And they're more or less going, well, this, here's a bunch of pills, take it and, move along, suck it up, buttercup. Is sort of
Yeah,
the
that's
attitude, right?
what I got the feeling from them.
Which is
Uh,
just awful.
yeah, so
Have
like,
you?
sorry.
I was just gonna say, have you tried any other like modalities for healing yet? Like, have you tried, meditation, or have you tried, we talked about psilocybin on our last live with Ignited. Like any other, are you open to any of those types of suggestions? I'm sure some people in the comments can, provide some.
Um, I've I've tried to meditate. Uh, it doesn't go very well. I can't clear my head enough to do that. I've tried. Uh, the other stuff, I had too much fun in when I was younger with that stuff, and I know that if you're not in the right state of mind before entering, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I'm in the same boat that way. Like, I'm a little concerned about it. I'm doing much more research on it to make that decision
So
if I do.
so yeah, I had like really suppressed like well, the first one that started everything was July 2nd, where a work friend lost her life in a car crash going out to a park, a provincial park, just being a crazy kid, doing whatever, right? And then 2 months to the day, I got that phone call where my life just changed forever. And then so I had to. So the weird thing is that her passing was on the 2nd of October, and my son's birthday is on the 3rd. So I had to keep it in and not tell him because I didn't want to ruin his day or his days. So I held it everything in for about 2 days before I even shed a tear. Oh,
I mean,
Yeah, take your time. This is a lot. Don't
and
you're
then on the 4th is my anniversary. So the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So like October is very bad for me.
yeah,
I saw someone there saying they have a bad 3rd or a bad May, and
yeah.
I can imagine that just anybody having something like that happen, and just to me it's mind boggling, and I still can't even wrap my head around it. So I'm not as my support goes. I mean, I told you a couple. I've had family members tell me that I should have been the one gone and her here, and I don't disagree. She had more to. I don't know. She was a much better person than I was. And I just don't find that fair.
Not fair. It's absolutely not fair. And that's a sign of somebody who, in my opinion, and sorry to put it bluntly, is, very emotionally,
Unstable.
like, that's such a hurtful and unproductive thing to say.
exactly. We can all think things, but not saying them out loud is sometimes, it's just not necessary, really. And like, who has the right to say that, anyways?
Well, with them being family, it kind of hits a lot harder
Oh,
than
absolutely, it would.
than a friend maybe or whatever. And yeah, so yeah, I've been practically on my own trying to deal with this.
Yeah.
I have done stuff to make myself feel better. It's not like most of the time it gets planned; it just happens. And usually when I'm by myself, because I said before, well, somebody that like I'll never let my kid or my girlfriend see how bad I am.
Right.
Like I don't care what I do or whatever, but they will never see me emotional about this stuff ever again.
Yeah,
Well,
well, it's hard.
you have a lot of people who are in here today who are willing to be a bit of a support system for you. You have all of us here now to be able to talk about it. I know that I have a lot of disconnect with a lot of my family, most of my family members as well. We're just not on the same page, and I find like I've had rude comments, like, not quite what you've said, but I've had just a lot of turbulent relationships with my family, and I've had to seek other people who were productive and positive in my life, and people who I didn't know, initially, who I'm learning, we're learning about each other, and that's been incredibly healing for me, to know that it's a non-judgmental. It's like love. It's just love that when you've been in places where you feel like you have none of that, and then to find it from people who also know what that feeling is like and who is still willing to provide that, it's a beautiful thing. And you do have a lot of people in here who who are showing you that love. And you
Yeah,
speaking today, I so appreciate, because these are really important things that you're talking about, and very real things that you're talking about, that people need to learn and understand. And you are taking a big step forward by doing that for yourself. That's a big step forward for yourself. To just, I'm sure it feels good to just talk about it. Um,
it does, and it hurts a lot too at the same time. So,
Absolutely.
but I guess they have to kind of feel that way to kind of move on. I guess.
Yep.
exactly.
Yep. It's like you're tearing scars. I always kind of refer to it as, it's like the scars that we have on the inside, and they sit there and they fester. And if we just leave them there, they'll just eventually evolve into something worse. One of those things you have to address it no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how much it hurts, in order to pull it out and for it to be able to heal.
Yeah.
But it's not a fun process. It absolutely sucks.
Trust me, I got a lot of scars on my body.
It's why we decided to start the Scott Trauma podcast channel, and our videos and stuff that we've released, because we, yeah, just needed to get it off our chest, honestly. It's like to be able to talk about it does help in releasing. CB saying, you need to release the pain, and it does. You might feel a little kind of crappy after talking about it, and when you're in it, it does suck. But I hope that you do find a little bit of relief slowly and surely, just by talking about it, and you are helping other people by talking about it,
Yeah, I'm at
who
the
are
point where I
going through that.
practically do anything I could for a little bit of peace, because it's like it's going crazy all the time. And anything you do, I just like, it doesn't seem like it's good enough for anything, right? And I'm just like I can't grieve right. I can't do nothing right, right? And I would do anything to get rid of it.
The hardest part is you got to work through it. That's the worst part is you have to sit in it, and it's not talking about it and releasing it as comfortably for yourself as possible, right? And having the support, I mean, is so crucial. I can't even express how grateful I am for coming into this platform, really not looking at it as more than just sort of a small information tool in the very beginning, to developing these relationships that we have and these incredible people that we are all, we're building this community, we're supporting each other, we're pouring love out, and it's genuine. And that's the part that is so mind-blowing to me, is that there is no agendas from these people that we have, you know, been encountering. Everybody is just on that path. Like, let's move through this, let's do this together.
Mm.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Was there anything you guys wanted to ask? Because, like I said, like I have a hard time opening up with a lot of this stuff, and I usually need to be, I guess, probed a little bit.
Yep.
Well, baby steps, and we'll definitely, we can do this again. When you feel up to it. I'm so glad that we were able to pull this together today. And if you're, feeling okay, you don't have to keep, you know,
I'm
chatting
I'm
with us.
I'm okay for right now. I
Okay.
just, like I said though, it's hard for me to open up like just on my own.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. I did have some questions. I'm drawing a small blank just because I'm processing, which is one of my things. Um, if you're comfortable, a question I was going to ask is, what is your go-to for numbing? If you're
I usually medicate myself a lot with alcohol, drugs, and, and say I like to hurt myself a lot, and usually if I drink, it usually starts off with just saying like one or two, but then the more relaxed I feel and less, I don't guess not pressure or tension, I guess, the more I can feel I can have a little bit more. And then with the harming, it when it starts, it takes a lot for me to stop. And like you, like I don't know how to stop it usually, and I don't know why it starts. Like I'll be just well, usually it's always by myself though. That's the one thing. But yeah, just be sitting there or standing there somewhere, and then all of a sudden I will uh, burn, uh, whip, cut, maybe try to break some bones, like just anything, just to possibly lessen
The
uh,
emotional.
whatever just whatever piece I need to get. Like I do know it's not no solution to the problem because it's going to be there right after or even through everything. It's just having that option just to be able to take your mind off something else for just for a second.
Device, right? It's a temporary solution.
Yeah, I guess. And if that answers that pretty good or not, I'm not
Yeah.
too sure.
Well, if you can see the comments there, you'll see that B she understands where you're coming from. I mean, I've experienced that in my younger years, um, because I never felt heard. So anytime I got shut down, that would be my go-to, would be to inflict whatever I could on myself. So I can also relate to that. And
Yeah,
obviously through, learning how to release negative emotions and things that I felt heavy, because I know that feeling too of not feeling like you're worth expressing how you feel. Like no one's going to care. Why do I have a right to feel this way? All that negative self talk, right? And
yeah,
that really hinders you from processing things in a healthy way, and you tend to turn to things that
negative,
are, quick.
negative.
Yeah, and quick.
Yeah,
For me, it was a
I,
quick.
I think I think most people do just for the fact that they want that like you that right away satisf you know, gratification kind of thing where you want it to work now, and if it doesn't, it's just you do it again until you get that feeling.
Yep.
And with me, like I have my own, I guess, vices, but other people have other ones, right? So
Yep.
to each their own.
Yep. Well, that's just it, right? Again, like we said, there's no judgment here. I mean, I applaud you for being so forthcoming and being so brave and sharing this, because it's not easy, but you're not alone here, not even a little bit.
Thank you.
And it's actually, I just saw, sorry guys, we're not trying to ignore the comments. It's just I cannot read and think at the same time. I wish I could. I can multitask stupid things, but I can't multitask like productive things. I don't understand.
And so,
Yeah.
Colin, is it because you've spoken about being numb, um, like feeling numb? So, when you're doing these things, is it like giving you a feeling?
Uh, yeah, like I feel every part of it, probably even more so like with a heightened sensitivity because I've like seemed to turn off everything else in my life. Like if something bad happens to somebody else or whatever, I have no empathy. I don't care.
Right.
Even though like I'll be there, like I'll send flowers or a big hug or whatever. I just don't have that emotional connection to that part of my life anymore.
Like to
Well,
yourself. I mean.
Well, not just to myself, but like say to other people. Where like say Like if a family member was going through something really bad or hard or whatever, I would, be there for whatever I possibly could do or whatever, but I just wouldn't have the same feeling or connection that they would have.
But in my opinion, that is because you're depleted.
Yep.
That is because you physically just don't. It's not that you don't care. It's not that you don't want to care. It's that you just don't have the capacity to be able to do anything more. You're depleted. You've been through a lot. This is a lot that you're sharing. This is an
This is
incredible amount. So you're
this is the
depleted.
most amount I've talked about this in, I guess, ever. And I've been with professionals, and so
Well, thank you for trusting us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you. It's kind of weird having being on a platform and talking like this on the platform that kind of almost say started my downfall, where a very bad thing brought me here now to a point where something hopefully good is going to happen, and hopefully not, well, hopefully fix myself, but because I'm
Well,
trying to get that saying that I'm not broken. I keep on hearing that a lot. I'm not broken, but it doesn't feel that way. But hopefully this way I can just try to move on with my life again and be kind of normal ish.
yep. That's all any of us want. And I think it's really important too. And I always say this and I reiterate it over and over is that healing is a journey. It's not a destination. And there is no overnight cure. And there is no waking up one day and everything is perfect. It's basically just being able to sustain peace for a, you know, a longer period of time. And when triggers come up, you're not completely floored by them. You can work through the things a lot easier. It's just about, things just getting a little bit more manageable, right?
Yeah,
Because that was
yeah,
a really hard thing for me in healing is having this whole like people putting it out to you. Well, if you follow this step, you do this and you do this, you're going to be this perfect human being one day. And that's bullshit. You're not, especially if you've been through a lot of shit. You're going to, you know, it's not like you're broken. I wouldn't say broken. Broken's not the right word. I don't know the right word right now, but broken isn't it?
yeah. I'm
But it
trying to
is
find that word myself too.
You know?
it's one piece at a time, right? It's one step at a time. Looking at it in that big, like, of course we want like the golden, gift of like here your healed self. Like everybody wants that, but of course, like Courtney's saying, that's not very realistic. And so, having that expectation is not realistic. But what is achievable is making progress.
Yeah.
And that healing journey can start, and you are starting that. You're on your way. You've been doing this by joining us, talking about it. And yeah, you have found a different way of being able to, the doctors didn't help you. The doctors have not helped most of us who are here today. And there is a time and a place for those things, of course, but you just have to talk about it with people who get it and who can really who really understand it, not just from a book, right? And I'm not trying to put down anybody in the medical field, please. I'm
No,
not
no, no,
trying to
no,
go
absolutely.
that route, but it's just the people who are here, you can see some of these comments coming in, like they're available to talk more. They've been in your situation that you're in right now when you're talking about the self-harming. That's a big thing that I hope that you can start to work through and start to manage a little bit better. And there's some people in here who can support you
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like everybody in the comments, sorry we're not getting to them fast enough, but you guys are absolutely amazing, all of you. And these comments are so just beautiful and so helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate seeing them. I a little bit emotional, so my fingers are too sweaty, so I can't really type back too well.
That's all right.
Colin, when do you mentioned that you have kids?
Yes, I have one 14-year-old I live with, and I have another 25-year-old girl. Yes.
Okay. So, that's obviously something that's positive in your life. And trying to, I saw one good comment was just, doing something that you can hold on to that's positive in your life, and just, I've mentioned before about like finding your why, which is, finding that motivation, which you're doing at times, but finding on something that's positive and hold on to that to get you through those dark times, and making some plans to, maybe spend more time, or have an activity plan with your kids.
Um,
Hopefully you're able to do some things like that.
uh, my relationship with my son that I live with, he's on the spectrum for autism, and so I'm the bad guy in the family. So he doesn't like me very much. He says he loves me, kind of thing, but you know, I can't really parent him. I'll just say he almost got me put in jail because I took away a toy before school,
Right.
right? So I mean, so ever since then, it's hard to kind of associate with him. Like I do the parenting thing. I tried doing the friend and parenting thing kind of mix. It still doesn't work. So I mean, so on that aspect, I try to keep most of my personal life away from him.
Right.
And then I have my daughter who only talks to me when she wants money or food or a ride for this or a ride for that. And she hasn't even checked up on me, asking me about how grandma has been. Or like I didn't,
Right.
she's still like, yeah, like she hasn't even asked me how I have been since October 2nd, 2021. Right. Like,
We just had this discussion, didn't we, Monica?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's a tough one.
it
yeah.
is.
So, I mean, I'm mad at her for not thinking of her family first in a caring way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm okay to, take money from and take food from, but I'm not good enough to receive a hug or,
Hmm.
um, you know, or ask how are you doing
Right.
or anything like that. So,
Well, kids are selfish, I think, and that's every,
yeah,
I hate to be like, harsh about it, but that's in their right to be selfish, right? And I know she said she's 25, so this is like a time, where she, should be starting to learn that, you have to treat people with respect, and give, you're an adult, right? It's a little bit different than your son. It's a different situation, right? So I can
mhm.
understand that sort of, yeah, that like anger towards all of that, because there should be some accountability on that end, right?
Oh yeah,
But it's always, I'm sure it's still worth your effort to try to connect and share a little bit with her about,
oh
that it hasn't been easy for you.
I do try to do things with her. Like I'll send a message, go for coffee or this or that, and I don't get a message back for say 4 or 5 days, and it's I need this. Can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? Like, like I've tried that so many times to the point where I, I don't almost, I almost don't want to, but I almost have to cut off my daughter from anything.
Yeah.
Yep. It's an under.
Like
It is.
I made like attempts to hang out with her, just do father daughter kind of things or just hang out or whatever. But I'm just not good enough to hang out with, I guess.
I'm sure she doesn't think like that. I'm sure she doesn't think that you're not good enough to hang out with. When I was 20 something years old, I was an asshole. And I do that as something that I definitely ignored my parents, and I was not a very respectable child, to my, like, daughter, to my family, especially. I never took into consideration what they were going through in their lives. I know now as a parent, I know now having been on the other side of things, just, immaturity, that that was a shitty thing, that, shitty things that I was doing. But
Yeah, I've always tried to instill into her that family beyond anything. And just to have her be like that is just, I'm not going to say ashamed of her, but I'm very disappointed that she's taken other things more over her family than anything. The ones that were there for her downfalls or down points, we gave her everything she ever wanted. She never went without. And yeah, like I was a butthole too when I was a younger guy, but I was always respectful towards my parents and what anything else. I mean, I know that yourself, you were saying like how you were or whatever. I know that every family is a little bit different or whatever, but for our family, it's family beyond, before anything else. And for her to be acting or taking the actions that she has been, has just been really hurtful for me, especially in a time where I needed her support and her help for everything. So I think I'm just taking a little bit more personally, just
Yeah,
to the fact where
absolutely.
I am right now.
Absolutely. I think too, like part of that is that, the self projection too, right? Because for you, without that contact and without that support that you're looking for, it sort of reiterates that negative self talk to yourself, right?
Yeah, I don't really like myself much right now at all. So
So it just makes that more, it just pretty much validates how you're feeling about yourself.
I would, yeah, I would agree with that.
Because I've been there. I have a 21-year-old daughter, and she lives at home and she's an amazing human being. But sometimes, like she doesn't participate in a lot of things. Always, disappears to her room. Pretty typical, at that age kind of stuff. And there are times where, like I'm doing laundry or I'm making dinner or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. There's not a lot of help afterwards. And sometimes I internalize that and I'm just kind of like, am I not good enough to help? Like it's not that she's just in her own realm, doing her own things, not really not trying to be selfish, but it's just kind of, you know, part of that growing, I guess you could say. I feel like you're like really selfish in your 20s.
Yeah.
I really do. And I'm not defending because I feel terrible for you that you feel that way. But just so that you're, maybe aren't taking it on so personally that just being in your 20s kind of makes you a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
I just
always I've always been hard on myself in every aspect of my life. It's either do it right once and don't have to do it again. Just it's almost, I think, what was the word, perfectionism? I guess there was a, I can't remember what kind of disorder or whatever it is. It's just I always strive to be number one, like competitive, or
Mhm.
like everything in my life I have to do perfectly the first time. I don't think it's an OCD thing, but I can't remember what it's called.
I'm trying to think. I know I've heard of this too, and again, that comes from that not feeling good enough, right? So it's like if I can prove to myself that I can do this perfectly the first time, then I don't have to, feel like a bag of shit later because at least I accomplished that. At least I
Yeah,
did that perfectly.
yeah,
I do stuff like that too sometimes with different things. I have those. I used to, anyways. I'm not so bad now, but I used to be really bad, like in my early 20s,
yeah,
because I always felt like, you know, I was always made to feel like I wasn't good enough. So that just was, that continuous dialogue.
Yeah,
yeah.
not feeling good enough
I
comes
try
with
to
a
I
lot.
have that conversation too in my head, but those other voices that are saying worse things are a lot louder, and I guess that's where I use my numbing techniques to kind of quiet them down so I can just kind of survive the day, because that's all it is really right now, is just surviving each day.
And that's, you know, no way to live for sure.
Yeah, like I don't make plans in long distance of times or anything because of things I go through, like say self harm or otherwise. Where that's where I'm at that point where I don't want to make plans. Say it was hard. me even kind of saying for this, but like a week ahead of time or whatever. Like I don't know if be here today, tomorrow. Every day is just hard. Hence the reason why I meditate so much. And I know other people might say that might be boosting those thoughts or whatever. But for right now, it's giving me whatever peace I can achieve at the moment. And yeah, so that's the reason why I don't make plans too long ahead of time because I don't know if I'll be able to make them.
That's fair. That's fair. And yeah, I can understand that too. Also, I don't know if you feel this way, but I know for myself, when I was feeling really, really, really rough, I didn't want to be around people because I didn't know if I was going to, have an attack of sorts, where then I have to now explain out of what is happening to me because I'm going through this, emotional turbulence. And then I'm like, it's uncomfortable for me, and then it's uncomfortable for everybody else. And then again, negative self talk comes in, and you just kind of keep away from everybody just to keep everybody comfortable and safe, and isolate yourself further, which we know isn't good.
Yeah, I get that feeling where that I want to be alone, but I shouldn't be alone,
Yeah.
and it's it's just really weird kind of a feeling because like I don't do anything when I'm around people. Like I'll look normal as can be, but in reality, I think of myself as no better than a bag of dirt. And yeah, and people were there for a short period of time, and you put on like a mask of normality on, and they think you're okay, so they just leave, and they don't check up on you or whatever. Even though you can maybe have conversations about it, like a general conversation, like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's where it kind of ends, right? And
Yeah, I can understand that. I feel like I do that exact thing. Like I'm pretty, honest with like where I've been. And I don't know if it's that the people I'm talking to don't have the capacity to be able to understand it, or if I try not to take it personally, right? Like I try not to think like, yeah, they just don't want to help me, or they don't want to just engage in this conversation because it's me. I try to look at it like they can't. They're like they don't understand it, or they don't have the emotional availability to be able to support me because I have said yeah, things aren't good. Yeah, and it kind of just ends there, and that just further sort of amplifies how you feel. And I wish I had advice on that end. I don't. um, just other than I know what that feeling is, and it just, you feel like you're just going lower and lower.
yeah, the people at my work, they almost seem like they just, I would say, they don't know how to engage with me, I guess, because I'm not knowing how things could be or whatever. But like in my situation, I mean, I would like just to see it or have an attempt, just to think, that maybe someone does kind of care or does you know, want to know what's kind of going on instead of just leaving that person to their own devices and not caring. So
I can understand that. I think that that is the misconception, though, that because we've created expectation, the misconception is now we just think because people aren't meeting these things that we have put in place for them that they don't care. And it's not about them not caring, it's that they aren't mind readers. They don't know. And sometimes subtleties, even though we think we're kind of dropping a line or a hint, they're not picking it up. And that's why, like again, places like this are important because you do have an immense amount of support in here right now. You have so many people coming in and, you know, dropping all sorts of amazing love and comments because you're not alone. But sometimes it's hard. It's better if you're somebody who isn't good at expressing yourself, finding a place like this. At least you're getting that support, because unfortunately, expectation disappoints you more than anything on the planet. And that is, again, something I had to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually don't expect too much. Like I don't ask for anything really. And that way, if I don't expect much, I don't get disappointed.
Yeah. No, and that's understandable. But it's actually like King of Queens is saying, being more vocal about your feelings. Like if somebody's asking you, instead of being like, oh, it's okay, and expecting that person to then be like, oh, looks like you're really struggling with being like, no, I'm not okay. And, kind of grasping someone's attention, almost like yelling fire, right?
Yeah.
And somebody all of a sudden is like, oh, you're not okay? Well, like what's going on? And I mean, like, that's also hard if you aren't somebody who's comfortable with vulnerability, because it's a very vulnerable place to put yourself, right? So it does
I
make sense.
sorry, I see the one guy's message or whatever
No,
for sheriff. I've I've been with my work company now for 21 years. We are like a big family. So I mean,
Right. Yeah.
we've we've talked about a lot at work, especially when we've had now two people that pass away unexpectedly in our work environment, where we like closed up our work, like we're a busy place kind of thing, and closing up shop for a day, is a big thing. So like yeah, we're in a big family there. So I'm not. We all kind of know what's kind of going on with other people's lives,
yeah,
but it's just like my own personal perception is where we're all engaged in everybody else's lives, but no one really comes talking to me because I'm the guy who's I'm the depressed old guy in a corner or something, right? Where no one really wants to engage with that too much.
Do you know that for sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to say I know 100% or whatever, but like again, though, I mean, with the perception that I have, that we just totally skewed because of whatever. It's just like in my own eyes, I feel that way.
yeah,
And I don't, mean to like not validate what you're saying, but just in this conversation today, um, you're very, it sounds like you are actually more self-aware than maybe you're realizing, because and I think you should give yourself credit for that, because the way you're able to open up to us today, I'm just so grateful for, because these pieces that aren't working for you. And I mean that first acknowledging those things that you need to fix is like a huge step. And maybe there is somebody who you are, and I'm just, it's possible, maybe it's not, but just maybe there is somebody who you work with, if you are close, who, if you give them the opportunity, maybe it's worth it. Because I know I have felt like that as well, and then at other times I look back and I'm thinking like, I don't know if I gave people a damn chance to even try to help me, because of my own blockages, because of my own, you know that's a difficult thing to open up to people. Obviously it's hugely difficult, especially like that vulnerability with the things that you're sharing. And I'm not saying you need to have the conversation with them like you've had with us today,
Oh, that'll never, ever happen.
but maybe there's a little bit more you could do, and just talking a little bit about the passing of your mother. That is something very relatable to people. Like, people understand that losing somebody very close to you, like that, trying to move forward on from that experience, people can understand that. Some of the other things that you shared are very personal, and that's going to take time. you know and today you've shared a lot with people, and
Oh, I've shared a lot, but there's so much more. I mean, like my best friend unaliving himself. I mean, my aunts, like I practically lost probably 90% of my circle of people and my family and friends. And I mean, I've had weirder conversations with, family members saying, it should have been me, not her. I've had, people saying that I should just, like you say, just buck up and just move through it. And I'm just at that point where I have no idea what I'm doing from day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely. It sounds to me like probably a lot of, and this is just my personal opinion. And again, it feels like a lot of the reason why you don't open up to the people that are, you would say close to, like if, even the people that you've worked with for 20 years and so on, is because you've been so rejected by the people that are closest to you. You don't have the capacity to be rejected again.
Yeah.
So understanding why being in a space like this would be a little less daunting because it's not
Oh, I'm still nervous as hell.
oh no, no, for sure, but like what I mean is, you're not like you said, you're kind of looking at it like people know your situation, but they don't approach you, they don't ask how you are, which again just sort of uh continues that rejection
Perpetuates.
feeling,
Yeah.
right? And
Like,
again, like everybody, there's been a few comments where they just have said maybe it's just because they don't want to pry, or maybe they sense that you don't want to share.
Hmm.
that is possible. I mean, I should try to open up my feelings a little bit more, let people in, I guess. Might make myself feel a little bit better. But
Hey,
I
try.
came, yeah, I came to a point where like I don't go out anymore, like other than when I have to. I don't go see my friends anymore because I feel like I hate to say it, like the angel of death, because people I get close to seem to die. So, and I
Yeah,
don't want that for them, so I try to stay away from them.
that's a whole other can of worms too, right?
Yeah,
But a lot of levels, different levels of shit to work through, which is hard. I mean, that's the thing about all this like trauma and stuff is it's so layered.
Yeah.
It's
and it
like
hits all
not,
at one time.
yeah, that's a lot.
It hits all at one time, and you can't deal with it all at once.
No,
It's too overwhelming. You know, all of these pieces are little pieces of your puzzle, and it's only one by one that you can start to rebuild and put that back together. It's
yeah,
just remember that it's that you are making progress, even though it doesn't feel like it.
yeah.
Like I'm just starting to kind of deal with things now. I mean, I have no other choice. But with my thinking though is like I only see two ends, two areas to go to. One is good and one's bad.
Hmm.
Now I just gotta figure out what exactly I want for my life.
Yep.
Well, hopefully, us and the people who are here in the comments supporting you, who you've seen before, will help you stay in that positive and take it one day at a time. Everyone's sharing a lot of love, and I so appreciate you and getting to know you the last couple of weeks. And you've taught me already, lots as well. You may not seem like it, but you have. And yeah, just thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I'm not too sure exactly what I'm doing, but
Well, the openness is huge. I mean, this is why all this stuff is so important because people need to talk about their stuff. I mean, as long as you're willing to work through it and you're, like Monica said, you're very self-aware, which is great, right? Because that's a big component. If you're not willing to learn or move through your, what the lessons that you're kind of teaching yourself along the way and picking up, like if you're not willing to apply them anywhere and move forward with them, then it's kind of a waste of your time, right?
yeah,
This sounds That sounded probably a bit like, but you know what I'm saying. Like
No,
that's
that
No,
self-awareness helps in, you staying on track, really, to creating a better life and changing your circumstances, which you sound very much like you are open to, which I'm so happy to hear
yeah.
like
because this is very difficult stuff.
I've been able to identify my triggers, I guess, in the recent while. So that's been a big step.
Yeah, that is a big step.
It
Yeah,
is.
a very big positive step.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, there's so many. You guys are so amazing. Like, thank you, Kings, Queens, and Sheriff, and Tony, and everybody in here who's making these awesome comments and just spreading all the love. And
Yeah,
you
I
got
really
lots of
appreciate it.
people in here that if you need to talk, they can relate. And I mean, like, there's honestly, I don't think there's anything more healing. It's like one of the best tools to have is somebody you can relate to, someone that can relate to you, somebody that can say, "Hey, I've been there. I know how that feels," and not to
Well,
surmise it, but to just you're not alone.
yeah, I recently think I have found a person like that. So, I mean, I hope that kind of keeps going. But I don't want to be a creep on anything like that.
As long as you're not a creep, it's all good, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've only talked to a few of you guys. I keep on nudging B by mistake because I don't know why. I click on whatever and it nudges her.
No, yeah, there is that stupid nudgy thing that's really annoying.
Oh, I think I do that to people accidentally. I don't really the whole TikTok thing. Like, I don't know if I need to like start using TikTok on like a giant computer because there's so many buttons and stuff. I'm like I'm not even sure what I'm doing half the time, but I love the this community and like all these people who I'm connecting with. So if I nudge you, then I guess it's for a reason.
Exactly.
Just
It's
to say
all
to send you in
kind.
here.
I
Nothing.
really appreciate everybody's support and all that in a dark time. So,
Well, exactly, and that's like we've chatted about that, right? That's what
yeah,
this is all about. It's about support, and everybody on a journey deserves to be supported. It's crucial in order to continue, moving forward, because without it, it's really hard.
And the
Really,
men that are in this chat with us, like in the comments, like a lot of these, people you've
you're back.
seen already, but one foot in front of the other, and these guys understand where you've been, and just going back to like having that male representation in mental health is so important. You are not alone, despite the fact that there's maybe more women talking about it. I'm so glad that you have found us, and that we've all have been connecting with each other, and it seems like more and more is happening on a daily basis. Like we're changing things, and you are
yeah.
very much a big part of that, and we love that. And thank you
Absolutely.
for
Just
joining.
thank
Yeah.
you guys for kind of inviting me into your little circle and all that.
Absolutely.
I
And
mean,
I
you
just
guys.
wanted to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you guys could you be like, just move along and blah 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 or whatever, but you guys were awesome enough to kind of take your time and try to help if you could, which is I can't say for much for other people in my life. So I'm much indebted to you guys for that.
Well, we know how that feels, right? All of us in here understand how that feels,
Yeah,
and
100%.
absolutely. Big shout out to B. Thank you so much for being so amazing in here today and helpful. I really, really appreciate you. I'm sorry I woke you up, but I appreciate you so much. Yeah.
You shouldn't have woke her up just for me.
See, that's what I mean though. That's what all this community is all about, right? Like we all stand together when you have a brother down, you're there to help lift them up, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's so important. And I mean, Ignited is another amazing person too. Sorry, here's a child. Um, an amazing person, and so is the paper doll. So many amazing people have been in here today, guys, and I can't give you enough credit and enough love. And we appreciate you so much, honestly. And Thank you all for everything.
I do have a lot more going on. I'm not going to go into it right now or anything, but I have a lot of, as I told you, Courtney, a lot of different aspects of my life that have happened.
Yeah.
Like you could write you could write a book on everything.
Well, we have a series coming up if you're interested in sharing.
Yeah.
It is very possible.
Yeah, we're doing a series on the podcast where we're highlighting individual stories so that, because there is something so therapeutic about being able to share where you have been and what was going through your head and how you felt in those moments. That's, of course, it's difficult to capture in a video, like a small, or a live. It's very difficult to articulate that sort of stuff, but it's important. These messages are important. So we are doing a series with B. We are doing a series with Ignited. We would be happy to do that with you or anybody else who's interested. Please reach out if you want to tell your story more. We're sort of up for any of it. We're open to do this sort of thing as well. If I'm glad that the three of us were able to get on today together and do this, and we can do it again
Yep.
Well, usually my
anytime.
days are pretty free. That's about
Yep.
that's-
Nope.
Perfect.
Yep. Works for me. I work, but not. I couldn't work today because somebody's allergic to black flies, so I'm home.
uh,
So
I work at night, so
that's handy.
it sucks because it puts a little bit of a strain on the relationship. So
Yeah, that would be hard. That part would be really hard for sure.
so you put that little bit of, I guess it's the little bit of hardness there in the relationship aspect, and then you add on everything else to the point that, where I won't share with her, and she probably knows that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, she said she felt bad after she said that, but
But it's,
I,
the
yeah,
damage is done kind of thing, right?
yeah,
Well, maybe you
especially,
can give yourself one small goal of just reaching out to somebody in your circle, whether it's your girlfriend or somebody you work with, and just give yourself a little goal of just sharing a little tidbit more of what you've got going on, you know, and see how it goes.
I have one person I've opened up to a lot recently, and they've been very supportive, even though they could have said, screw off. But I
Not
do
how I
appreciate
roll.
it.
You
Yes,
see
it's
B
Courtney.
saying rising one, not fallen one.
I like it. I like it. You could be
Maybe
the
if I
rising
feel
one.
maybe if I feel better enough, I'll change my name again. Like it used to be no one,
Oh,
so now it's fallen one. Because kind of like a double meaning, falling like whatever. But I used to be a Christian also.
okay.
But him and I don't talk. It would take a miracle
Rising
for
one. I
me
do
and
like
him
that
to
a
get on
lot.
again.
To make up, yeah. That's. I mean, there are lots of people that feel that way for sure. But they do. There are a lot of people that go back to that once they find their way to it. So it's not completely impossible, but baby steps, just working on the little stuff as like this is huge. Today was huge, you know.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I feel a lot better. This is way better than what I would usually be doing, and that's bad.
no, but we get that.
Definitely understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a pretty bad episode just before Mother's Day, and it's still kind of going on. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When we don't work through those things, they do tend to linger, right?
they
When you
sure
have
do.
the opportunity to sort of work through what you're feeling, because it just keeps coming, piling on, piling on, piling on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I'm hoping to get rid of that way of thinking because I know it's not doing me or anybody any good.
Well, you're definitely self-aware of it, which is, I mean, that Like that's leaps and bounds. There are so many people that you could be having this conversation with, and not to diss anybody that would be feeling this way, but there's so many people that are so caught up in the victim, the victim mentality that they can't, figure out how to do themselves a favor and, identifying, hey, I've got to do this, in order to move through it. It doesn't, make it go away, but it definitely helps in the processing, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like I'm trying, like, well, starting to look for a second job just so that during the daytime I'm going to be forced to be around more people, so then I don't hurt myself.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad option. I mean, it's if it's you can find something that you enjoy, and it's going to keep you busy and make you some money and you have the availability to be able to do it, it's not a bad option.
Yep.
Yeah, I really, my my body can't take any more
Thank you, Malachi.
of what's going on. So I mean, I got to give my body time to heal, like physically,
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
right now, I'm pretty beat up and scarred.
What's that? That
That was my alarm.
Oh, um, so we should definitely plan to do this again. I've got to go because I've got my little one is just like, Mom, what are you doing? What are you doing, Mom? What are you doing? So she's been awesome for the last little bit. But this was amazing, and I don't want to cut you short, and I feel bad. It's just
No,
I have to go. I've got to go tend to stuff, and I think you have an appointment, don't you, Monica?
I do. And
Uh,
I think that this was a really good step forward for you. I really feel very positive about, like this next, how the next couple of days are going to be for you. Please hold on to all this positive momentum that we've shared today and all the love that's been pouring out to you. It is genuine, and I know it's hard to probably convince you of that at this point, but just keep sticking with us. Keep sticking with us through all of it. I promise that like the days will get easier. We are all in this together, and we'll definitely, reach out, like,
yeah,
let us know how you're feeling over the next couple of days if you want. And
don't hesitate.
these
um,
things can be a bit of an emotional hangover after you've expressed them. We know that very real. So give yourself some grace if you feel a little bit crummy after that. Why? It's because your body just and your mind just purged a bunch.
Yeah.
well, I really appreciate it. Like I said, I haven't done this ever really, and if I do feel a little bit better, so
Good. Thank
Good.
you, everybody who's been with us today. We appreciate all of you. So much love.
Yeah, you guys are all amazing. Thank you so much, B.
and if anybody wants to text me later on, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Was that a hint? Was that a hint hint?
Maybe. I'll promise not to pick my nose.
Oh, perfect. Please. Well, it's not so bad if I can't see you.
I guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
perfect.
that's the key piece of it.
Yeah. B's like,
First,
yeah.
oh
Oh
my
my
goodness, I haven't
god.
laughed like that in a little bit, so thank you.
That's pretty good. That's for sure.
Thanks,
All right, guys. Have a
everybody.
Thank you so much, King of Queens, Sheriff, B, Tony, everybody that's in here. Sorry, guys, it's hard to really see, but you guys have all been so amazing today, and we cannot thank you enough.
Sorry for taking up all the talk time.
Hey, though, that's what
No, that's what this was
have a
for.
pilot.
Anytime, anytime.
I love you.
You guys want to do this again? I'll be fine with it since I feel a lot comfortable now. So
Good,
Perfect.
good.
Yeah,
We will.
absolutely. Awesome. All right, love you guys.
Love you.
yeah, I don't know
See
how
you
to
in a
get off this.
bit.
You're gonna have to kick
It's
me
okay.
out.
She can end it. I don't know how to do
Well,
it
am I
either.
ending it? Okay.
You end it. Yeah.
Kick me
You
out.
end. You end it. I don't know how to do these things.